Do you have symptoms of mental issues? Brain fog is what we call it most often, right? And what do people think as they get older? What do they think is going to happen to their brain?
It was just like that for my grandma.
Yeah.
So that's fine for me too.
It's going to happen.
It's just going to happen.
It's my genes. It happens to everybody, right? You're just getting older.
Right.
And you do not have to accept that. You do not have to accept degenerating health and memory loss and senior moments and irritability. Those are symptoms of Mad Hatter's disease. People have heard, right, Alice in Wonderland?
Yes.
We've heard, everybody's heard of it,
Heard the story.
of Mad Hatter's disease. Most people don't know where it came from. The story I tell is the hat makers in England were using mercury to preserve the felt in the hat, and they were going mad. So they were mad as a hatter. And so if you're experiencing those symptoms, you want to listen to us today because we have a solution. I'm Tammy Stewart at Health for a Purpose. I'm with Dr. Coates.
Yes, I'm with TMJ Plus. So what is safe amalgam mercury removal? I don't know if you've ever looked that up. There's a term SAFE on IAOMT. So if you are on the Oral Medicine Toxicology website, you might see some parameters of that. That's a great resource for research articles for those of you that want proof. IAOMT, thank you, and safe mercury removal. That also has a listing for dentists that have met certain certifications for being able to show that in their practice they have the equipment, they have done the CE and the training for that. That's very important.
And yeah, I kind of interrupt you right there. Because in our work, part of our specialty is safe mercury detoxification, getting the mercury out of the brain. The body, in its infinite wisdom, takes the mercury into the brain and stores it there because otherwise it would kill you immediately. When it's in the brain, it's going to kill you slowly, painfully, but not immediately. And that's, that's a less costly mistake. But on the IAOMT website, I frequently will call and interview those dentists, and I find that many of them really don't do all of the things that we require for truly safe amalgam removal. And that's why I feel so blessed to have you.
Thank you. So how can you know that you're in the right office, or what questions can you ask? So what I always have on a presentation for patients is like when they're interviewing me. So when you remove a mercury filling, like what is something you can do in advance? That's something that you need to prepare your body ahead of time for, which would be a separate video on how you can do that. Mm-hmm. Once you have your plan on which teeth you're going to work on, the other question that you might ask your office is, what's their plan? Is that part of the mouth? Is it all of the mouth? That would be a very important point for you because you would not want to do them all at one time, meaning that one side of the mouth and the other side of the mouth all together.
That's very important. Don't take that for granted because I have sent clients to a dentist that I thought was safe, and purely by the grace of God, my client was talking to me, I'm going to get them all removed in one day. No. You cannot cross the midline. You have to do different parts.
Right.
So don't take that for granted.
Right. So that's a question as a screening tool. Another question would be, other than what you might look up on your research on IAOMT or Google and other articles, you obviously know as a patient you have to be protected from not having mercury on you. So there's different ways to do that. How you are covered, how your dentist and your assistant, how they were covering, because it's patient and team that needs to be protected. Mm-hmm. So certain barriers and clothing and masks and certain masks that your dentist wear that they are comfortable with. Also for you to not have the vapor smelling or oral breathing as well, is basically to have certain oxygen over your nose to protect ventilation. Also to have a cover over your teeth that are working on. Sometimes dentists call that a barrier called the dental dam, or some of them use also an isolite in conjunction with that, which is what our office does. So basically it's extra suction in addition to the barrier dam. Also, you would want to have special suction over, so like even a third suction over the particular tooth that you're removing the mercury from as well. And then with that, your office should have, for just knowing peace of mind of your environment that you're walking into, the filtration of the mercury, so it's not going into the water supply system exiting. There's certain filtration that we use with that to collect the mercury. Also the type of water that's used in your mouth for flushing, that's important too, where you want to have it a specific type of water. That's really important point as an extra screening tool that some offices may not put value into.
To remove the chlorine and the fluoride
Chlorine
from the
and
city
fluoride.
tap water.
Right. So to have that water, also in addition to that, in our office, we, in addition to that purified water system that we use, we also put ozone water fresh every day in all of our dental lines. So that just means everything that's going through, like your assistants spraying your mouth or through the handpiece of the dentist, all of that is ozonated water. And we have a separate video about why you use ozone. So suffice it to say that safe mercury removal is not just the barrier, the dental dam, the correct suction, prior...
because a lot of dentists are willing to do those things.
Right, that's kind of the
not
easy.
enough. That's easy. And it doesn't require a big investment on the dentist's part.
Right, the investment, but the important part is the investment. That's why you're probably choosing who you're going to go to, is because it's a specific surrounding and, total protocol for doing this the right way.
In fact, speaking of investment, the reason I am a practitioner is because my children got sick, and we identified toxins were causing the problem. In your body, toxins like mercury and bacteria and lead that we've all been exposed to, chemical and just all of the chemicals in your everyday environment cause inflammation. You have cells in your whole body, 2 layers of fat on the outside of the cell, hormone receptors for all of your hormones. Toxins cause inflammation in the cell, so your hormones don't work. And every organ is made up of cells. So mercury in your mouth or mercury in your brain can cause problems in your whole body because of the inflammation. So our family was getting sick, and we found that we had mold in our house. And we discovered, that mercury is toxic. Well, you know what? When you were a kid and you broke the thermometer,
Yes.
what did Mother say?
Get back.
Don't touch it. Don't touch
Right.
it. Because it was fun to play with it. Don't touch it. We knew mercury was toxic, so we're not going to go into why it's in your mouth.
Yes.
But I knew that I had to get it out. My grandmother had Alzheimer's, and I watched her spend a decade in the nursing home.
Yes.
That's not life. I cashed in a 401k. So that I could get all of my amalgams removed, because my husband was not working at the time. Otherwise, it's not that expensive,
Right.
but it's worth it, because I don't want to be old and sick with money. I want to be productive. I want to be healthy when I'm 80 or 90 or whenever God calls me home, so I can even work if I want.
Right.
Worth the investment.
Right. The story is what drives you to have passion about health,
Yes.
and to be able to lead, educate, and inform others, which is the purpose of us talking to you right now. I have a similar story as well. My uncle had Alzheimer's. I think anyone that's had a loved one with that, it's very hard to see they don't remember you, and the change in the lifestyle and how it impacts not just them, but the family.
It just robs everything from them.
Right. So the point being also, because we are talking about mercury, you can go also to IAOMT to do your research. There's probably over 500 published journal articles that talk about health effects on mercury. So whether it's Alzheimer's, I have a chart up here that I have for my patients because they ask questions, but it's related to everything. MS, everything, chronic kidney disease, fatigue, Parkinson's,
and the cellular inflammation, is what links all of those symptoms to one source.
All of it.
Mercury in the mouth, mercury in the brain.
Yes. So it's connected, peripheral,
Yes.
from one source out to really everything that you might be struggling with.
And for myself, so I got all of my amalgams removed correctly. You know what, one thing we didn't touch on is, so we said you do one half of the mouth at once. You don't do the whole mouth all at once. You do them separately. You might even have to separate it more than that.
Right.
So you might end up with more than one appointment. Don't do your appointments on a 7-day schedule. Do them 4, 5, 8, 9, but not 7, 14, 21.
Yes.
And the other thing.
Can you tell everyone why?
No, but you can. Thank you.
Yes. So on there's different body cycles. I don't know if you all are aware of that, right? Mm-hmm. So this is something that I learned from NYU from Dr. Bromage. He is a researcher of hard tissue systems, which really just means bone biology. And so one of the things that I traveled with him last weekend, I was in New York City to talk with him and do research, is to learn that we all have a particular cycle in our body.
Women, we understand cycles.
But men, so cellular. Mm-hmm. And so it's not your typical 7-day cycle. The other thing is most people who are doing natural healing, you don't cross the midline for meridian. So I'm speaking to people that know more of Eastern medicine, or maybe Chinese medicine. So that's something that I also learned from my acupuncturist friend as well. And so also he's educated me on you're never doing crossing midline zone for that. The other thing from a toxicity standpoint in mercury removal, I've seen people who've had mercury on all of their back teeth. So let's just say 18 teeth. That's just something from exposure you probably wouldn't want to have from sitting in the dental chair, even though you also have a suction over your mouth. It's called a Denivac. That's an important screening tool to ask your dentist if they have that. But the point being that you don't want to have all that release at one time. Again, remember back to the diagram?
Yep.
Cell layers.
Inflammation.
Yes.
And so the Denivac, when I had mine done, it was like this, looked like a vacuum hose, and it was like right there. I could see it. You don't have to wonder if it's there. It's there, and it's huge. To suck that air out.
Right. It basically looks like kind of like an elephant trunk.
Yes.
And it is bendable over the mouth. So that's even another layer on top of what you had on your air filtration. The water, the suctioning, the dental dam. But that's essential because that's where you're controlling the vapors. And if you want to watch a video, again, that's on IAOMT website. You can see where mercury particles spread to, and you can actually see what happens to even neurotransmitters in your body.
Yes, the brain hormones.
Yes.
And another great video that you can look at online is the smoking tooth video. And it will show you, he'll hold a tooth that has an amalgam in it in front of a green screen, so you can see the mercury vaporizes. Yes. So it's not just getting absorbed into the tissue, it's vaporizing.
Yes.
It's vaporizing more with friction and even more with hot water. So it's being absorbed into the brain. For myself, and I insist on this with my clients, is that every time I walk into a dental office, I am picky about making sure that they do amalgam removal correctly. They're not removing amalgams on me, but they did on someone yesterday or last week or last month. And I'm not going to walk into the typical dental office because I would be breathing that mercury. Even if it's an office where the dentist had moved out, that building is still contaminated.
Right. Which is also why you shouldn't have in your area that you're having your dentistry done, look at the floor.
Good point.
Carpet, you don't do floors that hold on that. That's a lot of older dental practices. That may be fine for office area and where you're waiting, but that should be different. You should not have carpet on the floor in your dental treatment room as well.
Yeah, great point. So we're doing a separate video about how to get rid of the mercury from your body and how to prepare your body and protect your body from the experience of the amalgam removal. So first of all, we have to remove the amalgam from the mouth in order to heal. See, your body is designed to heal when we remove the interference. We have to get rid of the mercury in the mouth. That's one step. Then we have to get rid of the mercury in the brain. That's actually the third or fourth step. But also mercury in the gut. If you have gut symptoms,
Yes.
let me explain a little bit about how that happens. Let's say that you've got a molecule of mercury in your gut. The body builds goo or biofilm around that to protect you from that toxic poison mercury. And that biofilm, that goo, is a perfect environment for all kinds of organisms, pathogens, viruses, bacteria, fungi, yeast. People who have candida repeatedly, it's often the mercury in the mouth or the mercury in the gut. So those biofilms will be harboring bacteria. So when we start removing the mercury from the body, we have to have tools to also handle the release of all those biofilm. Biofilm is powerful.
Right.
All right. Anything else we need to add?
No, I think I covered it.
You did.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I appreciate the work that you do because you go above and beyond the call of duty. You even things like crossing the midline, and you're still learning and educating and researching so that you can keep on doing an even better job for us. And I'm very grateful. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Have a great day.